Receive an alert when the new episode is released. Jordan Peterson draws the author of this. The book, honey, is the wise person for us. For example, he's a psychologist and university professor, 62 years old, and he has great writings. He is one of the most prominent people of our time who fought against extremist Western leftist ideas and intellectual expansions such as homosexuality, transgender people, extremist feminism, and other ideas that are actually destroying Western society. He was fought a lot and has a story that we can mention later. But let us now focus on his book. Imagine that we came to him and said, "Speak, Dr. Jordan Peterson," and he taught us 12 rules for life. Of course, today we will take the first rule, which he talked about in detail in the first chapter. What does the rule say? Imagine, focus with me. He gave the first rule. I said, wait, you are giving me 12 rules for life. And the first rule for life is to stand up straight with your shoulders back. But really, at first glance, the subject will seem very trivial to you. Superficial. But what do we know about what you mean by this talk? Personally, when I started reading the chapter, I expected that it would talk about body language, the power of body language, and the influence of body language. This talk has some truth to it, but it only represents this amount of the rule. As soon as you start reading the chapter, it starts talking to you about an animal called the lobster. You have heard of this animal, my dear. Personally, this is the first time I have come across this Arabic name, because you and I know the animal, and perhaps many of us eat it after lobster. In English, it is the lobster, the bottom of seas and oceans. The strange thing is that this animal, my dear, lives in the form of societies in which there is a social class hierarchy and a struggle for areas of influence. This is the first thing that Jordan Peterson said about this animal. The information may seem a bit naive to you, but for me, it is interesting. I mean, imagine that you dived into the sea, for example, and reached the bottom of the sea. And you are walking around and getting to know the fish and living creatures. Suddenly, you see this lobster or kraken, and you say, "Okay, kraken, God, that's beautiful and nice." The one after it walks, and after a short distance, you see another animal, a lobster, and you say, "God, okay, I just saw one a while ago, and it passes by." This is if you and I were the ones who dived and saw the view like this. But the scientists who studied lobsters conducted strange experiments on them. I will save you time, and I will not. Stuff of it is that they discovered that the lobster that you and I passed by first, and the lobster that we passed by second, live in a society with one person. That is, it is not like what I thought at first, that, by God, this is a lobster living here. Then we walked a little and found another lobster. Come on, see? No, my beautiful friend, it turns out that lobsters live in societies. That is, the lobster that we saw first and second live within a society. And this society has classes, just like we have in our human societies. For example, an upper class, a middle class, and a lower class, and so on. Imagine that a creature lobsters live in communities. He says that since they live in communities, then each lobster has an area of influence. Yes, an area of influence that it has its own, which it defends fiercely and may even fight to obtain. The purpose of this is to ensure a very suitable area for living in, far from predators. Let have an abundance of food and a safe place where it can live, spend the night, and reproduce. He told you that scientists have noticed that it is not only lobsters that live in areas of influence or spheres of influence. No, he told you, many animals. Rather, scientists almost confirm that there is not a single living creature living on Earth today that does not have areas of influence, regardless of their size, smallness, or location. For example, he tells you that lobsters in the sea have areas of influence, and so do lions, for example. We know this information. They have areas of influence. If you enter the land of lions or any other predatory creature, my dear friend, it will most likely attack the lions and may kill them. Dolphins as well as chickens, and this is one of the most amazing pieces of information he mentioned in the book. Even chickens have areas of influence and social stratification, of course. He separated among the animals, he mentioned a bird called the warbler. He keeps coming up with strange names, my dear, but in general, the most important thing is that we focus on the content. He told you the warbler is like this. In short, I liked its story, so that's why I'm saying it. He said that it lives in North America, and it is a small bird. He said that it is like the rest of the birds. All birds live in areas of influence. He said to you, and you saw the chirping that you hear, the sounds that we think are beautiful and musical. He said that these are calls in which the bird announces its dominance of this area. He said that they chirp to inform all the birds that hear their sounds that this area is ours, whether the bird lives alone or in a group. By God, this information is amazing. He said, when I was 11 years old, I broke my leg while I was skiing in the snow. The important thing is that the insurance company compensated us. He took this sum of money and bought a voice recording device, a tape recorder. He says this meant something as high-tech as the iPhone at the time. He says one day my family and I decided to build a nest in the tree near our house. We designed this nest in the shape of a birdhouse, just like the ones we see in cartoon movies. They say we should make the opening small enough for a warbler. They say our neighbor saw us doing the same thing. She said, "Build me one." He says, so we built her the same story, a birdhouse, but its opening was a little bigger. He says what happened after a while, when the birds migrated, a warbler actually came and lived in this nest. He says, but the strange thing is, as soon as he finished building the nest in our house's tree, he started building a second nest in the birdhouse of our neighbor's tree. They say our neighbor was upset by this matter. She was upset because she was waiting for a bird was at Jordan Peterson's house was building two nests, one that he lived in their tree, and a second nest. He said the purpose of that was to prevent another bird from coming and living next to it, because this was his area of influence. He says, my father said to me, if we go and remove the nest that is in the birdhouse of the neighbor's tree, he said, we won't get anything out of it. We will remove it today, and tomorrow this bird will build a second nest because this is his area of influence. My father said, to prove this to you, I want you to do an experiment with the recorder that is with you. Take the recorder, and when the bird sings, record its sound. After you finish, play the same sound again, and let it listen to it and observe the behavior of this bird. He says, this is what I did. I recorded the sound of the bird and played it back to him. He says, the first time he heard his sound, it was repeated and he did not know. But he heard tweets about his territory. He says, Takush, he became disturbed and left his nest and began searching for the source of this sound. He says, the first time he knew the source, he started flying above my head and throwing things at my head. He says, throwing feathers, throwing trees, throwing branches. He tries to defend his territory. Imagine, he says, to the point that he continued doing the same thing even after you turned off the recorder. This place has become a threat to him. He says, my dear friend, the purpose of territories is a dignified life, a safe place with an abundance of food, far from danger, threats, and predators, sometimes far from natural disasters, a safe place that provides a safe living environment. He says, this living environment reduces stress for this living creature, and this is what happens to our friend, the lobster. He began to speak from experience. Scientists conduct. I mean, why are you mentioning this sequence? Because it is very interesting. But listen to the scientists' experiment. They took a group of lobsters and threw them in a far area in the sea. They put them in a new area of influence and living. He says, notice that as soon as you put a lobster in a new area, it starts exploring this area around it and tries to know where to put its home, and starts to get to know the area and where it can find hiding places other than its home, and gets to know the abundance of food, and studies the threat area. He says, for example, if it sees a predatory creature threatening its life, if its home is not nearby, you will find it immediately searching for the hiding place that it saw when it was exploring the land and hiding in it. So the witness in the case is that it gets to know the area. Yes, where the conflict begins. The conflict of the area of influence begins if a lobster meets another in the S. A conflict, and the conflict takes shape on 4 levels. He told you the first level is that if the lobster meets another, it starts to dance a dance like a boxing dance. He says it moves forward, backward, and to the side, to the right, and left, spreading his claws. He says that this show-off method might improve the fight from the beginning. Why did he say that? Because it shows the final result of the fight before it starts. The crack that is bigger in size and has bigger claws will show the other opponent that he is weaker and smaller. Vince withdraws from the fight. He said that in addition to the chemical secretions that they secrete during the dance, it shows the state of nervousness and tension of this lobster. As soon as it reaches the second lobster and senses it, it knows that the other one is wrong, so it says, I will save face and go. This is considered a defeat, so the defeated one withdraws from the area. He told you, ether and the chemical fluid that they secrete has no effect. They enter the second level of conflict over this area. Oh, my brother, glory be to God. By God, it is a strange thing. He told you that at the second level, the first lobster advances towards the second lobster and moves its antennae in a very fast, show-off motion. Then it retreats backward. Then the opponent advances and does the same thing. Then it retreats backward. He said that this might show who is stronger and more powerful. So the defeated one withdraws and takes control of the area. The winner said that if this move does not work, they go to level 3, the third level. At the third level, he tells you, each of these 2 lobsters tries to overturn the other as if it is a judo fight. They hold on with their claws, and one tries. He flips the second one on his back. He says that as soon as one of them flips on his back, he knows that he is defeated. So he withdraws in. But sometimes, and they are very rare, neither of them can flip the other, or the one who has been flipped straightens up and continues the fight. He told you, if this happens, leave the 4th and final level. He said this is the worst level. He says that in it, the lobster starts trying to search for a part of the second lobster, grabs it with its claw and pulls it back, trying to amputate that part, whether it is antenna, a foot, a leg, or a hand, and so on. He says that these conflicts usually end with one of the lobsters being killed, and then the winner imposes his control and dominance over the area of influence. By God, my beautiful friend, this is one of the most beautiful things I have read in this book. And I was very happy while I was sitting and learning about this searching creature that exists in the depths of the sea. I was seeing it, and I did not know anything about it. It is a strange and wonderful source of info. Source of thought as well. He told you, look, This is where the story begins. This is where my honey friend, he starts talking about the base. He told you, in the victorious lobster, what is it? It happens that there are two hormones secreted in the brain. The first is serotonin, the happiness hormone that I have and you have. And the second is the octopamine hormone. And this is the opposite hormone of this hormone, the unhappiness hormone. Let's say that the winning lobster secretes the hormone serotonin. And this chemistry that is secreted in its brain is reflected in its body language. You can tell the victorious lobster from the position of its body. You will find that it has extended its tail, making it bigger and longer, raised its chest and head, and spread its claws, enlarging and widening them. He says that this is the way it begins to wander around the area. The winning lobster says that its area of influence differs from the ting to the area in which it won. The more victories it had and the larger its area, the more abundant food it had, and the greater the safety therein. They said that this makes it have much more advantages than the other lobsters in society. It has better opportunities and a better living environment, far from the threats of danger, and it lives longer. It even fights with females for its area of influence. He told you that the female lobster enters into a struggle for influence, but in a way that it's very different. You don't need to get into a fight with another lobster because it's a female. He doesn't say that females search for the victorious lobster and seize its area of influence when they tempt it and it marries them. This conflict that occurs between females, which of them can win this area of influence if you convince this male lobster to marry her? He told you, and the victorious lobster gets a much greater chance. A lower classes, he said, those are very likely not to even find a partner to marry. The defeated lobster, on the other hand, is broken and withered. Its gait is withered, its tail is shorter, and its head is drooping, indicating defeatism. He told you, do you know what's strange? Scientists have noticed that the probability of the victorious lobster being victorious in its future conflicts is greater, and the probability of the defeated lobster being defeated in future conflicts is greater. He says no, and from his body language, the lobster knows that this is an easy target or not. It's a big chapter in their lives. But he told you, and here lies the core of the first rule. He told you, how similar are the lobster's class societies? In our societies, we humans, he said, we have this class hierarchy, whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not, he said to you. This exists, and you have an internal clock in your subconscious. You stand in society. For example, if our society ranges from number 1 to number 10, they said, let's take an extreme example. If you are number 1, you are at the top of the pyramid. And if you are at the top of the pyramid, you live in the best places and get the best opportunities. And the people around you are only courting you to be close to you. And you have an abundance of money, food, and a healthy life. And you are less vulnerable to diseases. And life expectancy is, after permission, longer. And your chances of finding a life partner are much greater and much better than anyone in the lower classes. They said, in contrast, if you live at number 10, you are in the lowest class in society, like the homeless. You may live in the dirtiest or worst places, or perhaps you do not have a home at all, and you do not have many opportunities, and you do not have an abundance of money or food, and you do not have a healthy life. And deadly diseases, they said this is scientifically proven. The poor fall victim to chronic diseases such as cancer, diabetes, colon, high blood pressure, and others. They said the reason behind this is that they live in difficult environments, and difficult environments increase the level of stress, and the level of stress messes up your hormones and your nervous system is damaged, and this reduces immunity and exposes you to diseases such as tumors. God forbid, I mean malignant and non-malignant tumors, chronic diseases, strokes, diabetes, blood pressure, and so on. This is, of course, in extreme cases. We are talking about the homeless. He said, but come on, there is a distance between the number 10 and the number 1. You are in any of them. The higher your class, the better your life is, and the better your life is, the more it indicates that you are a successful mobster. And in your self-confidence is strong. The percentage that you have a better life and have better opportunities is stronger. He said that you are comfortable and at peace. You enter projects normally, even if you lose, and you will most likely lose. You take risks because you are comfortable and not afraid. He said, but if you are in classes, lowly afraid of risk because you might lose everything, here, my dear friend, the differences are clear. He said no, and the way people around you treat you determines your status in society. Or, excuse me, your status in society determines the way people around you treat you. He said, even your friends, see how they talk to you. Do they talk to you as if you are higher than them or lower than them? Oh my goodness, my beautiful friend, the depth of what he said. You see, of course, he said many things, but I cannot tell you in a very short time or in one episode. But my purpose is to deliver the depth of the message. First rule of life, stand up straight and stretch your shoulders back. This stance, he says, you will get it in two ways. Either you are a person who lives in the middle classes of society, and if you adjust your stance and appear confident of himself, this will affect the way people treat you. He said the difference between us and crack is that we are rational beings. It is possible for you to take this look and convince others that you are a successful person. So, my beautiful friend, even in clothing plays a role. I mean, look, praise be to God. Look at my clothing in Tabor 1, which he sees me and says, stay away. I mean, you're okay. But generally, from here, my beautiful friend, there are many people who appear with an outward appearance and deceive us. We think that they are rich and successful, but they are all liars. We might pay them money to teach us. He told you, you did it to deceive people. No, he said, because this stance will play with your brain chemistry and give you some confidence. It won't change your life, but it will play a role in changing your life. It will make the people around you deal with you differently. If the society around you doesn't respect you, then look for a society that respects you in order to enhance your chances of success. This is the first way to stand up straight. As for the second way, and this is what he means, he told you that you must keep in mind that there is a class hierarchy in every society, and even in all living creatures. Ants, bees, birds, dolphins, fish, sharks, elephants, lions, and even humans. There is a class hierarchy, and you are in one of those classes. It is your duty, my beautiful friend, to fight for your sphere of influence and make it better and stronger. You must succeed in your life, even if it is a relative success. It is not necessary to be at the top of the pyramid, but you must struggle to react. This will make your life dignified and create many opportunities for you than those that existed before, so that you can enjoy this comfortable life and your generations and children can enjoy it. This is the first and last goal. You are struggling for a better area of influence to live a dignified life, to attract a life partner who will live this dignified life with you, so that you will leave a generation that lives in this dignified life. This is my role and your role, my beautiful friend, in the struggle for areas of influence. He tells you that you live in a lower class and you accept it. Rather, this is something that will greatly reflect on your life, consciously or unconsciously, directly and indirectly. Being satisfied with what you have, my beautiful friend, is different from accepting your current situation and settling in it. This is different. For this reason, Allah, the Almighty, always asks you to strive for a dignified life. My Lord, increase me in knowledge. And when He asks you to pray, He says to you, Our Lord, give us good in this world and good in the hereafter. You search for the better areas in this world and the better areas in the hereafter. This is the first rule in life. Keep success in mind and understand the spheres of influence, and know that the social hierarchy exists, whether you like it or not, and plays a role in my life and your life, before us or not. If you learn, develop your knowledge, read a lot, my beautiful friend. Work hard for better salaries. This will make you comfortable and your life comfortable, and will create opportunities for you that did not exist when you were in the lower class. Today, my beautiful friend, I will not tell you about the difference between 15 and 25. God is your representative. I will not tell you, but in order not to bore you with it, let me conclude with this law. He told you that there is a law called right, that what 1% of people own is equal to what 50% of people own. The 75 richest men in the world own what 50% of people own. Apply this to money and wealth, job opportunities, projects, science, music, arts, and songs. He even said that 1.5 million books are printed and sold in the United States of America every year. And the best-selling books that exceed 100,000 books are only 500 books out of 1.5 million books. He always told you that in the upper layers of the pyramid, abundance is much greater than in the lower layers. In fact, one layer of the upper layers of society is equivalent to what the layers of the lower classes own. You must succeed, and you must work hard on your life. You must work hard for it, and you must struggle for areas of influence. You must stand with your back straight and your shoulders back, because you are a successful pillar, my dear. This was the first great chapter of the bow. First rule of Jordan Peterson. What a great rule it is if you went and read it or contemplated and thought deeply about it. If you think that this rule is not useful and may benefit someone other than you, share it with whomever you love who may benefit from it. Give us a like and subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so that you can receive a new chapter from a new book next week. This is the end of our episode, my dear. All I have to say in it is to thank you for your priceless time. Peace be upon you. By the way, did you know the name of the cricket before this episode? Teach me in the comments.